Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of the Orchestra podcast. We have one of my very favorite people here today. Miss Gwen Gilbertson is here. Say hi. Hi, Gwen.
Hi.
We used to work together in Puyallup, and I miss her so very, very much. But we're doing great things in Port Angeles, and she's still doing great things in Puyallup.
Well,
And,
trying.
and we have her out today because she is a Suzuki person. She's going to tell us all about kind of how Suzuki works and how it can help young people become better musicians, and maybe old people do some of the things that they should have done when they were younger. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe what you did back in Oregon for so many years, and,
Oh my gosh,
and why you're an important person.
Why am I an important person? Oh,
Other than because I say so.
because Nathan says so. That's why. Well, I'm Gwen Gilbertson, and I have been teaching Suzuki. Well, I say Suzuki and traditional for most of my teaching career, which started in Newberg, Oregon. Have you heard of Newberg before? Nobody really has.
I have.
Have you? Yeah, home of George Fox University, and I was there for too many years, over 33 years, and moved back to Oregon, moved back to Washington, and got a gig at Puyallup, and that's what I've been doing since. So actually, I'm retired, retired, semi-retired.
Rehired is what they call it, I think.
Semi-retired. I can't stop teaching. So that's where it's all about.
And so, not at the same time, but we sang in the same choir together.
No, we did not.
Not at the same time.
PLU?
Yeah, the Choir of the West. We were both alumni at Cal, right?
Oh, that's right. We're Cal alumni. That's right.
Well, you're only like 29, so it's not that many years removed.
Well, bless your heart. No, I just colored my hair not too long ago, so old enough to be your mom, but that's okay. We won't say how old.
So one of the things that I'm trying to do for all, I think it's 233 of my kiddos, is to give them something to do if they feel like it. I want to keep it light, keep things optional, and just every once in a while you do a check-in, you show me what you're doing. But give some of the kids who maybe aren't ready to go out there and shred the Tchaikovsky concerto some things that they can practice and know that they got better, so that when we come back in the fall, it's going to be like, wow, like everybody was putting the work in. And in some ways, having this time off, I think we can get even better than if we were in our old routines.
Right. That's true.
So we got to take this opportunity, and hopefully today you're going to show us some of the awesome things that we can do. But first, a lot of kids, they hear, do you do Suzuki? And they have no idea what that means. So what is Suzuki?
Well, the Suzuki method basically starts students playing mostly by rote, not by note.
What does that mean? What does rote mean?
Rote means by hearing. By just
I say you play, that kind of thing.
I say you play, or yes, or imitation, yes. And it gets students playing right off the bat, so they don't really have to read a note of music. And I use a combination of the two because, as you know, we start a lot later, 5th and 6th grade, and so we need our kids to be able to read by note a little bit sooner. But the method was used mostly for teaching younger kids how to read, how to play and get really good. So there's this little controversy, between Suzuki versus traditional too. I've been reading some stuff about it. It's interesting, but I think a combination of the two works great.
Shinichi Suzuki went through all the work to put those songs together. There's no reason why you can't have the music on the stand and still be doing the method.
Absolutely. And I think one piece leads to the next, which leads to the next, technique-wise. So I think it's very good. And the literature is really good. And I highly recommend it.
Now, for a lot of the people who are watching this are also teachers.
Right.
They're going to have the question, does mom or dad need to learn the instrument with the son or daughter?
Well, I guess that depends how old they are. The littler ones for sure. I think it's key. But when they're older, I don't think so much. You know, like if they're in
Yeah.
5th or 6th grade, 10 or 11, the kids are not going to want their parents to like, Mom, would you?
So what's the benefit to having, 30, 40-year-old mom or dad sit there and learn violin for the first time with the kid? Why is that so beneficial, according to Shinichi Suzuki?
Why is it beneficial?
Mhm.
Because two people are learning at the same time. And the parents can help instruct the kids while they're doing their
So,
method, you know?
so when the adorable little 3 or 4-year-old goes home and dad says practice, and it's like, I don't know what to do.
Mom and dad will know exactly what.
Dad learned Bow Hold
Yes,
too. Dad learned
yes.
Twinkle, and so you got like it's like having a teacher at home.
That's what it's all about.
The hokey pokey.
Yeah. Well.
So, if I am, let's say, a 7th or an 8th grader,
Okay.
and I've never played a solo before,
Okay.
I've had good teachers that I know my notes. I can play D major. I could play G minor in a pinch. I can move the bow. I love orchestra. We play some fun tunes. But
Okay.
I want to play a solo. It's so
Okay.
Is Suzuki maybe a good place to start to look at my first solo for solo ensemble?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the literature is so good. From Bach to, Boccherini to, Mendelssohn, it's all there. A lot of the literature is really, really fantastic. And it caters to different levels. 7th grade, 8th, 9th, as the books go on, it's a good method.
And as the method progressed, they figured that not everybody's learning violin. So they got viola and they got cello and they got bass out there too.
Yes, they do.
For all my bass and cello and viola friends watching this.
And flute and piano too.
And flute and piano.
Yes.
That you can use these books too. And what Mr. Rodall's doing through this time is trying to get a lot better at piano.
Yes.
And for violin, there is like a really clear sequence of what you play to get to the next thing.
Yes.
That doesn't exist for piano. It just doesn't. Because everybody insists you got to go get a teacher and your teacher will tell you what to play. And your teacher tells you what to play and you hate it anyway. But part of what I'm trying to do is trying to figure out how can I Suzuki piano so that you can get from Twinkle Twinkle to the Twinkle Variations by Mozart, which is kind of a hard piece of music. What there's got to be the way that Suzuki set up everything leading up to Bach double. There's got to be little tidbits that teach just one new element at a time so that when you get to that goal, you've learned everything you need to get there.
Well, you may have to take that one up with a Suzuki piano teacher. They would probably know all the specifics.
They're probably upset with me already. I think I've said enough. But for the violinists out there, I've got some cool things to show you, and I think you've got some knowledge to share with me.
Okay, so, I'll try.
One of my good friends, Dr. Lori Scott, who teaches at UT Austin. Do you know Lori Scott?
I do not.
She's a big mucky muck in the Suzuki world, and she runs, it's called the String Project in Austin, where hundreds of kids can show up there. I forget which facility they meet at, but it's associated with the University of Texas at Austin. It's kind of like an El Sistema sort of thing, but they do Suzuki style classes.
Right.
And my first thought when we went on lockdown was, what about our poor little babies that don't have an instrument at home?
Right.
So I made this guy.
Cool.
So it's a fingerboard, and if I get close enough, you can see I've got it color-coded, and it's got the name of the note exactly where it goes. And so I could practice my fingerings, and I could sing Twinkle while I finger along.
Right. And are we talking about little ones, or are we talking about junior high little ones?
We're talking about all the ones.
Okay, because I have an idea for a violin as well that I've used.
Oh, we'll get there. And then of course I've got my violin.
Yeah.
For the real practicing is wrong, but just for different practicing. But the point is that everybody needs to keep practicing. So what kind of things can we practice so that when we come back in the fall, whether I'm a 4th grader, a 5th grader, a 6th grader, or a 13th grader, that I'm going to wow my orchestra teacher when I come back to school? What can I do?
Okay. Well, first thing, left hand position. Always check on your left hand position. I've got so much of this going on, even still. I don't care how old you are. Right hand position, bow hold, putting everything together, practicing everything slow and steady, and then adding stuff to it. I would just concentrate on technique, your left and right hand technique. First of all.
Well,
and then
I've got a bow buddy here, if you know what a bow buddy is.
I do.
Can you help me make the perfect bow hold?
I can, if you like.
Now, I could just whip it out and do it, but it'd sure be more fun if you could teach me.
Okay.
Happy bunny? We got a happy bunny?
Happy bunny. Or there's a man that's sitting on a dock. These are his feet right here. And
I like that. That's new to me.
Really? And then he's got his fishing pole right here, and he's got his little dog sitting next to him.
And his dog. Oh, because the dog is little.
The dog is little, right? So I would take my thumb. I don't know if you can see it. Right, bumpy thumb. That's yes.
I call it coat hanger thumb. If I can't hang my coat on your thumb, we're not in business.
Okay. And this is not a Suzuki bow hold. This is I can't remember the name of it.
Who cares?
Yeah.
The bow hold.
The bow hold. All right. And the bumpy thumb, and then you put your legs down over the dock, just like that. Beautiful. Put your little puppy right next to you, and then put your thing in the water. Correct. You want to make sure that you have a little space between here and here. Some teachers do it all the way, but I like to keep these two fingers.
I like to cover the eye of the frog.
Yes.
That's my thing. But then when you get into cello, you got to swat for pinky over the eye.
Yeah. Is that it? Can you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, cover the dot. That's correct. Pinky on the top. And make sure.
If you're lucky, you can kind of feel where it is, so you know when you're drifting away.
Well, I can't. Mine is really smooth. But that's a really good bow hold to start with. So if you're a cellist, you want to move it up like so. I would for a balance point. That's what I would do. Yeah. If you're starting. If you're not, that's good. Also, if you're starting, I sometimes put the thumb underneath too on the furl to get them.
Anything to get them bowing.
Right.
I think we got to bow by Thanksgiving or we're already behind.
Right. That's true. And I used to put a little dowel, in the middle to, I don't know if you've got one, and to go up and down for bow movement, for your elbow. Working on that. I don't know if you have it. Let's see, what else? Left hand position, and then, the staying in this kind of deal, going back.
Would you do the X's?
Pardon me?
The crosses, so you go just like an inch, and then you make an X, and go another inch, make an X?
You can do that. But try to stay in the middle of the highway.
Oh, we're talking about lanes.
We're talking about lanes, yes. Are we still on bow holds? We can go back.
I'm just trying to keep up.
Okay, so lanes in the highway. It's not too close to the bridge, not too close to the fingerboard, right in the middle of the highway, right? We're just doing small bows and then going back and forth till you get bigger and bigger and your bow stays straight. Practice in front of a mirror, all kinds of stuff.
Now, I got a question here.
Yeah.
Now, I got some weak pinkies in my craft.
Weak pinkies, okay.
I've got like 30 good ones, and I've got 200 wimpy ones.
What do you mean? Pinkies?
They don't want to go on the top of the stick, or they're not part of the equation. Now I do little bow push-ups.
Yes.
Is one thing that I do. What's another exercise we can do to make that pinky just like Superman, super strong? What can we do?
Super strong. I don't know. I do pinky taps.
Pinky taps?
Yeah.
That's not one I do. That's new to me. I like that. So pinky taps. And what are we looking for doing a pinky tap?
Just getting it nice. Height down. Yep. Up strong.
just so we can feel where it's supposed to go every time.
Right. Also, you can put one of those little Cornhusker things. Have you seen those? You know, for
like
your
something you put on like a 3-ring binder punch to keep it together.
No, the things that you use for corns on your toes.
That are sticky. You got a planter wart, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like a planter wart. And you stick it right on the end here, so your pinky
fuzzy with a hole in the middle.
A little fuzzy in the hole in it, and that keeps your pinky kind of in place. Doesn't necessarily make it stronger or not, but
okay.
Yeah. Let's see. That doesn't do it. That's basically what I do. Or you can just go on a tabletop.
The climbing up the bow one more time. My kids haven't seen that one yet.
Oh yes, this is the spider thing.
Yeah. Talk to me about the spider thing.
Well,
why do we do this one?
So it's like it's for putting your bow hold. So you say ready, set, go, and at the end they go up, all the way up. Yeah. All the way up.
Going down is way harder.
The going down is much harder, and they don't get to use their other hand. So they come back down, and you try. Where are you? You're gonna beat me. And then you say stop. And then they have to be at the end, right? Correct. Our bow holes look good. See that bumpy thumb? Can you see it? I can't see it. I don't know where I'm at. There it is. My nails look bad too. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So bunch of games. I put a lifesaver on the top, and they have to do up like a rocket, down like the rain, back and forth like a choo-choo train.
Oh yeah.
Round and that stuff.
Now, something else I think you can help us with.
Yeah.
Is I've got a lot of kids who think they can live their whole life and never shift. That they're just going to live in first position with no extended third fingers or fourth fingers. That first position is all there is. So how can we get them comfortable feeling that there's more to their violin than just first position?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how to phrase it. You mean going from first position to third position, or first position just up the violin?
Literally anything that isn't just in first, because you get this like wrist lock, if you can see that, where it's just like they're clamping down and they're not moving anywhere. So how do we get them to a point where they can do that kind of thing?
Well, I like first position scales. I mean, first finger scales. And then going up. So that kind of, and they have to hear the scale. So that kind of gets them up the fingerboard. That's always a good one. Would you do
that just a little bit slower for the kids at home?
Oh, sure. Okay, so let's start first position. And you just keep going up.
So just go one octave scale starting on first finger, but first finger is higher every time.
Yes, a half step higher.
Okay.
So that kind of gradually moves them up, and they have to make sure that this stays rounded, and they can't do
this. If you were being really mean like Mr. Rodall, you would make them say the name of the note that they play before they play.
Absolutely. That's what you're supposed to do. I'm sorry, I left that out. E. So D, E, E flat, E, F natural, F sharp, so on and so forth. You can do that on the G string as well. You can do that on the A string as well,
Mm-hmm.
So those work for getting kind of good position and posture going up. So if you're going from first to third, though, I like to, it's that finding it, with your what do you call this? Your wrist thing. That helps. I don't know if that answered the question at all.
Oh, you answered it perfectly. My question now as a teacher is, what do you say to those little babies out there, adorable as they are, that think that they only paid for the upper third of their bow, just from the tip to about the middle?
Honey, this is my pet peeve. This is my pet peeve. I always tell them, that we're talking about getting them to play with their full bow, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I tell them that this poor bow, it's like a small child, right? To me, there's all this space here. And I tell them their bow's gonna start growing mold if they don't start using the bottom. It is, because it's so much easier, of course, to play up here, right? because you don't have to, you have to lift your elbow. So I do lots of this stuff. Tip, frog, that kind of thing.
And without playing in between at first, just doing the tap at the frog, tap at the tip, tap at the frog, tap at the tip.
Just so they can feel what it's like to get.
So they know that it's possible, because they try and act like it's not possible.
I know. There's more to life than the upper half of your bow. I always say there's more to life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then I have some kids that are kind of stuck in the middle that don't like to, play either. So, I don't know.
Well, I got a couple more questions. One of them is, what do you tell the kid who's been sitting in your room all year, and there can be some good reasons. There are some really good, not everybody's lazy. There can be some good reasons that maybe they don't play all the time.
Oh, maybe they don't play all the time?
Yeah. What do you tell to that kid?
What do you mean? That they don't play at all?
Well, you just got like a seat warmer.
No,
Yeah.
they don't play at all?
Yeah, it happens.
Well, I guess there are some classes that have kids that don't play. I tell my kids, you need to get your instrument up, even if you're faking it. Don't be sitting there not doing nothing. I mean, you can't, why are you in the class?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
There's no point. They got to go. Because you're there to play music. If you're not there to play music and you just want to warm your seat, you can do that sitting in a library reading a book. I don't know. You don't be an orchestra if you're not willing to play. That's my philosophy.
Now, maybe we got somebody who they're having all kinds of things going on at home.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the way that that's turning out is I'm not doing orchestra today. How do you have that conversation of you need to play or you need to go, but be sensitive to the fact that there could be some deep stuff going on outside of school? So
I get that.
So how do you keep that kid?
How do you keep that kid? Well, you talk to them. I suppose, hopefully they'll talk to you before class starts and say, so-and-so, I'm having trouble, my mother's blah, 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 or whatever. If they don't feel like playing and you want to keep those kids, I think, and we're assuming that they can play, and they normally do, but bad days do happen. I say, if you want, you can sit out for a day, go in a practice room and maybe practice on your own or study, but know that, you're going to have to play eventually. But yeah, we give them some slack. But if you've got somebody that just comes constantly, who just...
That's where I'm at. Like, if you feel sick, go to the nurse. Don't just sit there like a bump on a log growing moss.
Right. That's true. So, yeah, you have to kind of play it by ear for the situation and for the kid, I guess,
Now, when I would hear your groups perform at adjudications and things like that, every kid on that stage felt like they was eating candy. Every song was candy. And I just had a podcast with Dr. Ryan Dudenbostel. He's the orchestra guy up at Western. And I was trying to talk about, how do you give kids their piece of candy so they'll eat the vegetables? And he just about yelled at me and he said, it's all candy. It's just that some of it's black licorice.
Yeah, I get it. I agree.
So as at this point in your career, an intermediate level teacher, how do you convince the kids to eat the candy even when it's black licorice?
How do you convince them?
Or do you just pick all candy?
I just pick all candy.
So you just stay away from the black licorice?
Well, black licorice meaning what? What are you talking about?
Well, what I would call the vegetables. It's the kids, they play through it the first time, like, we don't like this is hard. But you know as a teacher that they can do it, and it's a beautiful piece of music. How do you get that hurdle?
Usually this is what I do at the very beginning. I will say, this is a great piece. You're going to love it. Period.
Because if you're excited, they will be.
I'm excited. And I said, I listened to it. I think you guys can do this. I think you'll like it. So I don't ever say, well, this is a really hard piece. I'm not sure, if we're going to be able to
pick up on that.
You don't even preface it with anything. You just say, man, oh my gosh, I have this great piece by Brian Balmages or whatever. you just say it, and you know that it's going to be difficult in
Mhm.
certain spots, but you don't need to let them know that. They figure that out themselves, and eventually, you know, especially for sight reading it, they'll go, oh my god, but it's pretty cool, you
Mhm.
know. Just don't even give them a chance to think it's licorice.
I like that. Well, so it's not just that it's all candy, but it's all candy you want to eat too. There's no
That's
black
right.
licorice.
And there'll be some licorice spots in it, but you know, you practice it and you make it good.
Well, if you mix all the candy together in a bowl, you get a piece that's not your favorite, but it's still candy.
That's right. Candy's candy. Sweet and good.
I got one more question.
Okay. Am I answering your questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nail on the head every time.
Oh, you're right.
Now, I ask all of my guests if there was something that you could go back in time and tell uh, yourself when you had just started violin
This is an easy one. Go ahead.
of how to avoid people who are going to make you feel like you can't, who are going to tell you that you are not good enough, who are going to tell you that there's no way you're going to be a teacher or there's no way you're going to be a violinist. What could you tell yourself now, or that you know now, that would help younger you get through all of those challenges and and uh, and be like Teflon to all those people who try to stop you from reaching your dreams?
Well, I suppose I wish I wouldn't have listened to those people. Those
Mm.
people, those naysayers that say that. I wish I wouldn't have taken it to heart. I mean, I personally, I'm not that kind of person. I didn't care what people said anyway. I just kind of, but there are, you know, my
This is
mother told
reminding me of our staff meetings in Puyallup.
me, my mother would tell me, but why are you going to be a music teacher? Why can't you be an opera singer or something and sing for the Met or this and that? And I said, because I don't want to do that. I want to be a string teacher. And I really didn't listen to her, and I did what I wanted because that was my passion. If it's your passion to play the violin, cello, viola, bass,
Mhm.
then you need to find somewhere inside yourself and say, this is what I really want to do, and I'm going to do it. Because there always going to be somebody telling you can't do this or you can't do that. And I would say, watch me. That's my personality. There are shy people though that maybe, you know, give up easily, but I just say, don't give up. Just do what your passion is. And if playing that instrument or playing, just do it. I don't care what people say.
That's great. Now, I did lie a little tiny bit. There is kind of one more question because I only just thought of it. if I got kids who want to go a little bit deeper into Suzuki method,
Yeah.
are there places over the summer that they might be able to go and learn some Suzuki skills?
Well, over the summer, hopefully the Suzuki Institute that I teach at in the summer, Oregon Suzuki Institute, happens to be canceled this year, but there are institutes all over the United States that focus on Suzuki and Suzuki literature, starting from book one all the way through chamber music. So, you know, anybody can look into that. There are some in Washington, of course. I'm not sure where. We have some teacher workshops as well, but we're assuming that over the summer things will be back to normal. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm a kid and I know how to work Google. What do I search for to find some Suzuki workshops?
Just Google Suzuki workshops, and they'll probably come up with a list. The closest to us that I know of course, is OSI, Oregon Suzuki Institute, which is really good. I've taught there for over 10 years, and it's a great workshop. I do the orchestras there.
Yeah, and most, for the kids listening, most private teachers will list somewhere on their business card
Yes.
that they are a Suzuki teacher. And not just
Right.
I teach with Suzuki method, but somebody that's part of Suzuki has accredited me to teach
Right.
Suzuki. And it's a real
Right.
process. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. They have are you talking? Yes. There are teacher training workshops. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And also at these institutes. So.
Well, before we sign off, is there anything that you could say to my kiddos, especially my seniors that I'm really hurting for right now?
Oh, I know.
Tell them how much that we love our students and how important music is in our lives.
Music is the most important thing in the universe. It really is. You see stuff on TV. Music brings everybody together. It doesn't matter, what you play or how you do it. It's the universal language that connects us all. So play those violin concertos, keep practicing, doing what you need to do, and just keep playing your music. That's all you got to do.
That's my practice rule, is it doesn't matter how much, it's just that it's every day.
That's right. I always tell them practice only on the days that you eat, so.
And if you ain't eating, I'm showing up with food. I'm going to make sure you get eaten.
A practice a day keeps Miss G away. I always say that too.
All right. Thanks so much, Miss G. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, and see you soon. Bye, kiddos.